Hi everyone, this is Etienne Dubach speaking. So great to get the opportunity to speak in your team meeting, to speak to you at that moment. I have been invited by my sister to give that talk, and I'm really delighted that I can a little bit share my experience, but also maybe give some ideas, some focus for this time that is now coming to every one of us through that Corona pandemic issue that we're having right now. So, as I said, Etienne Dubach, my name. I've been now married, luckily, for many years already. I have 2 kids. I'm an NLP master trainer. I'm a life coach, working directly with people as well. I'm a speaker, talking about communication, body language, and also NLP. And now this talk today, I'm not aiming for any perfection. So it has not been prepared, and I think that's already one of the takeaways of this speech today, of this talk today, because in that time of Corona, we cannot aim, or we shouldn't aim for perfection. Because if we would aim for perfection in this time that is already stressing us in many, many different layers of our life, then perfection just added stress. But I'm going to come back to that later. So just as a little overview of that little talk that I'd like to share with you is that I'm going to focus on how to stop emotional stuck states today. So emotional stuck state means that you are stuck in a emotion that you cannot get out. What I see now worldwide is happening with Corona. And I also like to focus on future pace. So on a future pace, on a future perspective on how we could see this situation, this Corona crisis in retrospective, when we look back, maybe in half a year, maybe a little bit longer, who knows, and what we could learn from that. I chose these 2 topics. Why? Because I believe personally that these 2 topics are in life coaching, but also now in this kind of crisis time, help us to create or keep a little bit of sanity, because we are all facing different times. Me now here in Spain, where the lockdown has now been going on for 9 days, and we have been now creating somehow of a routine, but still working on that. And many other countries are heading to the lockdown. Others already are in a lockdown, I believe. It is just helpful to have some support, mental support, in order to manage and master this coronavirus time, this Corona crisis, so we get over it and that we can flourish and flower after that even more. So, how to start? When we are having a crisis, it can be a life crisis. It can be like a divorce, or it can be other crises, or it can be now Corona. It doesn't really matter. What happens a lot of times is that people tend to go into an emotional state of freeze, that we cannot move anymore, that we don't know anymore what we can do, what are we able to do, how to do it. And this, what we call in psychology, is also a so-called emotional stuck state. So you are stuck in one moment. You cannot move anymore. You're shocked. You're paralyzed. It freezes us, and that's something that I see worldwide, here in Spain and everywhere, that we are really still in that shock of that Corona crisis. Something that never happened in our lifetimes before had occurred, and we are in a stuck state that stops us of being mentally healthy, or stops us of being productive, stops us of focusing on the positive sides, just because it's like a shock. When we look to the Maslow pyramid, then we have the lowest need that is aimed for food, it is aimed for a shelter, and the second need is aimed for security. And we are now at the moment on these 2 lowest Maslow pyramid layers, where it's very difficult to get above it, even though the people who can get above these 2 layers of the Maslow pyramids are the lucky ones, because they are able to be productive, and that can be a big advantage. This can help many people, many families, many businesses, many colleagues, can help them to actually flourish and create something magical out of a time of crisis. So where does this stuck state actually is coming from? Where is that from? How is it created? Well, first of all, it is about our focus. Where is your focus now in that time of crisis? Are you focusing on what is already great, or are you actually focusing really on all the corona news that we're having? Now here in Spain, where we have the lockdown since already now, today, day 9, I believe what I see is that the people have accepted the idea of that they're just locked down. They have accepted the new reality that coronavirus created. But the focus, what I also see in the Facebook groups, in WhatsApp groups of our school, is that the focus is very strongly on the corona. So we are still in that mental crisis mode that keeps us of actually being able to move forward. So what we do is we focus on corona. Even let's say the social media, let's take Facebook for example. There's a lot of support, of course. There's funny pictures, there's these toilet paper challenges, there's many different things that can bring us to laugh. But still, beside of these corona jokes, there is many things that are keeping us on that crisis, on that negativity. So all these news from different angles are basically still overwhelming us, and constrictions and the death rates and the worldwide development of all this crisis is not really helping us. It is actually blocking us. I wouldn't say don't read or don't focus on that, but we need to focus on keeping it on a minimum. We need to focus on keeping it very, very, very low, because if this is our main focus during the day, the majority of thoughts that go to that direction of the corona crisis, that would definitely not be helpful, would it? So that's where our focus is. So how do we get out of that crisis mode? Well, there's different ways that I personally found out already that I believe are helping, but I'm also using, of course, my knowledge as a coach, as a life coach, as an NLP master trainer. And there are some suggestions that I could suggest to you. For example, of course, socializing. But that we can share our experiences with our peers, with our friends, with our families, with our colleagues. This is something that makes us going closer to each other. We are exchanging knowledge. We are suffering. We're all basically in the same boat, right? So that actually helps us to feel more comforted because we're not alone. Even though a lockdown may occur in your country, or maybe already has occurred in your country actually, might not separate you from that feeling of that you actually can be in a boat with everyone else if you share, if you connect with each other. And of course, for example, social events like what we do here in Spain is applauding at 8:00 p.m. We are applauding to all the medical services and all the people that are still working in shops that provide food, or pharmacies, for example. So there's a common a sense of community created now in that time of crisis that helps the people to get even closer together. So this kind of socializing really supports our emotions and gives us a more positive vibe. If we applaud, for example, with our neighbors on the balcony, or make music, or singing even, like the Italians did it a few days ago. So what you can also do, for example, that's what we're going to plan also, is we're going to organize a Zoom dinner party. So I'm planning to do a Zoom dinner party where you have your laptop with your best friends on the table while you're eating dinner, they're eating dinner. You can exchange, maybe you put them loud on speaker, and then you just have a dinner party. Even though you're miles away, you can still somehow have this social interaction. Or maybe in your team, where you work with, even if it's home office, it doesn't really matter, because you can really create with some creativity, some ideas that help you to have that feeling of connectiveness. Because as it is a worldwide topic, it is something very powerful that can also bring us together. So I think that is one way, socializing, that is important. Another way, personally, I believe, is a lot of focus. Focus is one of a triad that is very important. We have the focus as one corner of a triad. we have the physiology, another corner of the triad, and we have also mindset, the third corner of a triad. So if we go to the first corner of a triad, which is the focus, what do you focus on? Everything you focus on grows. If you focus on your success business-wise before Corona crisis, I'm sure this will grow. Now at the moment, if our focus shifts to the coronavirus, then our fears might grow about it, our concerns might grow, and we keep on being paralyzed. That's not what we want, do we? So what you focus on grows. So focus on the things that can keep you going. Focus on the nice people that you know. What can you be thankful for? What makes you proud? What have you been accomplishing? Like all those questions that are very solution-oriented, future-oriented, that can help you to actually start to also move on. We need to decide. That is a conscious decision. We need to decide to focus away from that binge reading of Corona. Binge reading of the Corona news is just narrowing our focus down to the negative thing that is just now happening in the world. So it does not nurture the right things. Yeah, it creates fear and freeze reactions. So we have to focus towards staying healthy, for example, or focus towards staying happy, create happiness in this time. What could you do to be more happy? What could you treat yourself with at home at home, basically. How can you treat yourself well? By doing whatever it takes. There's no boundaries in creativity, so you feel better. So focus is one thing of that triad. The other corner of that triad is, for example, physiology. What I see and what I have created now is also a routine here in Spain. We're living in Barcelona, a little bit outside of Barcelona, and we had to create a routine because with 2 kids, what they're going to do? Homeschooling all day is not even possible. I'm also still working online. So that means there is still, we need to still do things. So I want to keep sane with my family. So physiology is an important part during our day. What my kids already love is yoga in the morning or some sports. There's great offers, for example, for kids. If you have kids, for example, you can go to Cosmic Kids. Cosmic Kids Yoga, that's a YouTube channel. Jamie has hundreds of movies, great movies, and the kids, they really have fun with these stories. It is not high sophisticated yoga, but it is powerful because you move. I move with them. I do these silly things, what they do, I do with my kids next to me, and after half an hour, 45 minutes, I'm feeling uplifted and ready for the day. And even though I cannot go walking, I cannot go running, I cannot go like hiking anywhere, enjoy the view, have a walk at the beach, all these things are not possible, but still moving. Physiology is important because your body creates hormones, positive hormones, if you move. A little exercise, just a little exercise if you want to try it. If you're now looking upwards and you're just having your arms out and you're looking up and you're smiling, so on a count of 1 to 10, what number of happiness would you give you right now if you would do this position? What number? Would it be a 5, 6, 7? If you would smile, just use your physiology and looking upwards and just like have a winner pose basically. So how would that make you feel? From 1 to 10. 10 would be super happy, a 0 or a 1 would be very sad. I'm pretty sure it would probably be above a 5, right? Right. So if you have this normal physiology that we usually have at home, where we just like lay on the couch, watch a TV, binge Netflixing or whatever, in that time we're not using our body, so we cannot expect our body to be helping us to feel better. We need a routine in this time of confinement, a routine that helps us to feel better. And that routine can be, half an hour yoga. Use any YouTube video, use anything that you find on Zoom to interact with people. My wife has 2 or 3 times a week, she has a sports class now. Usually it's at the beach near Barcelona, in the sand, beautiful weather, great. They don't have that right now. So what they're going to do, they're going to be in the living room. The teacher has a screen, everyone has his phone, puts it on the table, next to the table, you do your sports, and that's what keeps us going. So, physiology, don't forget physiology, please. Then, mindset. Mindset will be the last part of this triad. So that mindset part, it's really about the attitude. It's probably one of the most important things in anywhere, and especially now in this crisis. We need to keep a mindset of sanity. Mindset of sanity. Look, the world now is changing. It changes anyway. So what? You know, me personally, I'm already out of my comfort zone, even though you're at home. But even at home, you can actually make your comfort zone bigger by the challenges of not being able to walk around freely. So we need to think about, world changes, so what? You can't even change it, right? So what we need in our mindset is, for example, compassion. We need patience, a lot of patience at the moment, and accepting, and that is one of the most important things I can tell you tonight, accepting imperfection. It is okay to now eat too much. It's okay not to exercise the usual amount that you normally would do. It is okay to be bored. It is okay to be stressed. It is okay to be angry. Because we cannot move, we have to accept the imperfection. We cannot aim for perfection. Me personally, with that video, I'm not aiming for perfection. I'm aiming from a life, from a heart. I'm trying to give you my heart in order to give you some insights and give you some ideas, but I'm not aiming for perfection. If you're confined, if you have to stay down for a lockdown, perfection is not the right way of approach. If you have kids, don't focus on create the perfect environment for them. Or that they have perfect kids, that they behave perfectly. They will do bad things. Everyone is stressed. So please, it is great to have imperfection right now. It's okay. Yeah, confinement already is putting us under pressure. I think that's enough. Our perfectionism does not help us. So it's okay not to aim for this kind of perfectionism. Don't be a perfect father. Don't be a perfect mother. Don't be a perfect friend. Don't be a perfect team member, maybe. Everyone will accept a lot more now that everyone else knows that we are in a crisis for how long ever. So it's also okay to not be a perfect leader. And now that we're talking about leader, maybe a little word for leader, about leadership. Everyone who is watching that movie or this little speech here, everyone in your team is a leader somewhere in his or her life. And I believe personally that's what I really started to feel the last 5 days. Now is the biggest time of personal leadership, that you can prove your personal leadership. Now is the time where you can show your power of being a leader. We are 4 people at home stuck together here, and it's more demanded than ever for me to step up and show how calm I can be, that I can control myself, that my emotions don't flood my conscience, that I can control my reactions towards my kids, that I can be in control of myself. I cannot control the people around me, but I can control myself. It's a personal leadership. And remember also, for example, as a leader, your goals. It's so important that I don't forget what is my highest values? Where do I want to get to with my family? What do I want to give my kids? What do I want to have as a happy marriage? And all these things I cannot or I shall not forget now, even in this time, because especially this time is so important to show leadership. It is a very short period of time. Maybe it's 1 month, maybe 2 months, but in that time, that's so important. My kids will remember that maybe for the rest of their life. Who knows? Yeah, so we have to basically now realize about this Corona thing, and as an overview now, we can't control it. We cannot leave it, and we cannot change it. That brings us to the point where we actually have only one choice. We have to embrace it. We must embrace it. And if we want to stay happy and if we want to stay sane, it is a must. Last year I had, on my birthday's in July, last time that birthday, I was sitting there. That's what I usually do. I sit there somewhere on the beach, maybe have a sangria or a cerveza, a beer, and then I'm like, what do I want? What is my big picture for the next year? And I found out, I think I wanted to have my new aim, very simple sentence that is very easy to understand. It was, be like water. Be like water. Why? Because water can fit anywhere. Water is the most flexible that you can imagine in the world. Water can change its form. It can be ice, it can be liquid, it can be vapor. Be like water means total flexibility, and you can really adjust to these situations that come to you. You can adjust to the people that are coming towards you, these differences in the world, or even a coronavirus pandemic. So be like water. I think that is one idea that I really like to give you today. This could help you also a lot. Or maybe what you can do also, take a big paper and create a healthy daily routine. That's what we did. We have a daily routine also for our kids, which means getting up, having breakfast, brushing teeth, like the typical stuff, but then also, move, yoga, then education, learn something. Then we have lunchtime, then we have a party time or game time, then we have a educational movie time. So we have a routine that we are keeping up. The kids love it. They go for it. It's so funny. And me personally, it gives also me sanity. And I also wrote down what I'm committed to, because that is just helping also me to keep my focus. So another idea for you, what you could do also. Yes, so focus. I had that before. Focus on one thing at a time. Focus on, when you do your routine during the day in that lockdown, focus just on one thing. Maybe you start with the day with your mindset, with a mindset exercise. A mindset exercise that you can sit down, you can take a paper and just realize, hey, imperfection is okay. Today, I'm not aiming for perfection. I'm just gonna relax. Take it easy. Do the best I can. Just do it as best as I can. And that should be in that time enough. Then do some sports maybe, some yoga, cardio. YouTube or Zoom, as I mentioned before. Then some education for yourself, because that's the thing that is helping you the most. Growing in that time when everyone is in a freeze, everyone is shocked. In that time when you're growing, you're creating an advantage. Yeah. And then, work whenever you are ready for it. Well, so I have one little idea that I like to share with you before I finish that little speech, this little talk with us. And I would call it normally I would call it a future pace, but we can also call it a regnosis. It's not a prognosis, it's a regnosis. And regnosis means, instead of a prognosis, that we are actually going to the future and trying to think back what would be the past. If it would be now in October, November 2020, what could be the past? And this released, when I did that for me, this released a lot of fear and created hope also. So just imagine, how would that be if you would now be traveling into the future, half a year, and you would be able to actually look back what had happened. And our main focus now would be not on the possible deaths, but what positive effect could have happened. And there are many, many things that, in my idea, are highly possible to happen. It's possible that we start to have a new paradigm about how we live together. A new paradigm shift on how we interact with each other, how people are connecting with each other, because they couldn't for some couple of months or weeks. We have new social ways of interaction. New values might have been emerging. Values of appreciation, of patience also, because we are now in the biggest patience training ever that I can remember. Or a new kind of connectiveness between people that can be created now through great leadership. What can also happen in the next couple of months, let's say we would look back from November, October, and we look back and we would see that we actually started to create online work, and it is so normal. In October, November, it can be so normal, all this online working and having these talks as I just have it with you now. It could be one of the most normal things ever. Or also contact with friends that has been more and stronger through that crisis, because each crisis also brings people closer together and creates real interaction with people. It could also be that we get a united feeling that is emerging, because we had the entire world have faced a crisis, and they're all now starting to manage this challenge together. And I cannot imagine how positive this impact actually can be in the retrospective. Of course, we will probably also realize that the economy made it somehow. We don't know how yet, but somehow it always makes it. It's always going down, but then again it will be going up, and it will start to flower again, as all the nature already does in Australia after this horrifying bushfires. So their nature is already growing up again, and also humankind and this world after this pandemic will also start to flower again, and maybe already in a couple of months. And then we will maybe realize how many new business products have been created out of nowhere with little or no money, that have been given so much value to the people in that crisis, and that these people who created these products, these services, has made a lot of money. So there are now so many products and services being created because the needs have shifted of the people. The needs are different. And the biggest question might be, will you personally maybe be involved in creating one of those products or services that now are changing lives, that now are giving value, that people are actually willing to spend something on it? Well, so that it was a little overview about my thoughts as coach, as life coach, as NLP trainer, as communication trainer here from Spain. Still we're keeping it all together. If I would wrap up and I would give a little ending sentence, I would maybe say, in that time that is coming to you, or that you're maybe already in, don't aim for perfection. Just, play. Do things you haven't done for years. Like me, today I have been building paper airplanes with my son. Do silly things that you think are too funny because maybe you're too old for it. But do things that you haven't done for a while because you really have the time. Don't take it too serious. Keep the humor. Everyone is talking too serious because they are all watching too much news. Maybe you reduce that a bit. Focus on the funny part of that side. There's always two sides of the medal, as you might remember. Use common sense, and don't lower your standards. If you start lowering your standards and you say, let's Netflix 5 hours instead of 1 hour today, don't make these lowering standards a habit. Keep it up, keep a routine. So, thanks a lot. I hope you had a good time. I wish you all the best. I wish you especially sanity, as I wish you focus to create your routine during that lockdown. And I wish and I really hope for that you create that power within yourself, that you can now get out of that stuck state and focus on what comes after, that you can already prepare for that, because we never had more time to prepare for something than now. Thank you. Take care. Maybe see you another time. Bye-bye.